Hello, this is Latanya Price coming to you with another video blog post on today. So, this topic that I'm going to be talking about is kind of a list, so to speak. It's not a long list, it's only just four, but it is a list of common issues that you can successfully overcome. And so I want to touch on, just like I said, four common issues we all are too familiar with. We all know these. We've all experienced these, I'm pretty sure. Unless you're really young and you have yet to live life, trust me, you have experienced all of these. And so I want to just touch on these four and just really encourage you and to empower you and to let you know that you can overcome all of these. And so the first one, it's going to be the common one. It's going to be the most one that we all talk about and the one that everybody has somehow experienced, and that is fear. Fear, I tell you, holds so many people back. Either just because they're afraid to make the mistake, or they're afraid that they're not going to really succeed, or they're not going to really just take off running and when they first head out. And sometimes that don't happen, and that's okay. So with fear, like I said, I think I mentioned this even in another post, is, there's a healthy fear and there's an unhealthy fear. The healthy fear, of course, is that whole alert system, kind of that personal intuition, or whatever you may want to call it, is, letting you know something of danger or something harmful is about to happen, and it lets you know, hey, it's time to exit, or it's time to really avoid this, or things like that. But there is that unhealthy fear that just holds you back. You don't want to do anything. You're trying to avoid every single possible risk, or you don't want any change, or it's just that fear. And so God does not give us the spirit of fear. We know this. We've heard this. We've heard it sung in songs. We've heard it. We've heard it sung. We've heard people say it all the time, and that is so true. We're not really built to be fearful in a way that keeps us bound. And so with fear, we have to sometimes get over our what I learned and what I call cognitive distortions, which is basically how you blow the bad way out of proportion, or you may blow up the mistake way out of proportion. And, don't focus so much on that either. And so when we have those cognitive distortions in our minds, those negative thoughts, those really overly exaggerated mistakes that we may have made, it causes us to have this fear where we don't want to do anything. And so with that, I definitely, first off, sometimes do it anyway. This is ways to overcome fear. Do it anyway while you're afraid. Do it anyway. And what I mean basically is even if you have a fear of, if I make a mistake, don't let it hold you back. Even if, you don't have everything quite together. Maybe you're still learning. Maybe you're still in the process of doing something. Prime example that I'm just going to give you right now. This whole video blogging, for me, I can type all day long. If you know me, I'm a very fast typer, very fast. And I can type all day long. And it's easy for me to type everything out and to edit and to proof and to do this and to do that. But to come to you literally unedited, unscripted, it petrified me to even try to do this. But I was challenged to really get out of my comfort zone. And I was challenged because also, as I am trying to get more and more involved with my business and letting it grow and helping to make it more, visible, people have to see me. And I won't always come, of course, in what I may go to a presentation in, or what I may put on for, when I go speak and go out to public engagements and, those kind of things like that, whereas mass audiences or mass amount of people or certain events. But I want to come with these video blogs as just my natural self. I just want to be able to people to get to know me, and I can still connect with you on a personal level. And so I am doing this, and I still have sometimes jitters because I'm trying to get used to it, but I'm doing it anyway. And so that's my personal encouragement to you as I am encouraging myself. And so just do it anyway. And so recognize, that you can do it. Speak those positive affirmations. Just as those negative thoughts starts to creep into your mind, just think to yourself, no, I can do this. It's going to be okay. If I make a mistake, I'm going to learn from that mistake, try it again, and just keep going. And just keep going at it. Make sure you have those positive affirmations in your mind. Make sure you know what motivates you, what keeps you going, what keeps that momentum alive in you. And so you want to always make sure it's triggered. You always want to make sure that you can definitely overcome those fears and not allow them to block you and to hinder you, because you have so many great things that you have to fulfill. It's a mandate. We all have something great and extraordinary that we have to fulfill. So we can't allow fear to ever try to block us from fulfilling those, okay? Second thing, discouragement. Man, of course, this kind of piggybacks a little bit on the fear, because guess what? What happens when we make a mistake? Discouragement kind of comes along sometimes, and it's common. Now, these are common, these are natural feelings that I'm going to be discussing, so don't feel bad that you have fear or that you're discouraged or different things like that. This isn't meant to make you feel inadequate, but it is to help you recognize those issues, address them, and then, of course, overcoming them. So with discouragement, like I said, first off, keep going. You make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. That's first and foremost. Don't allow that feeling of defeat or feeling like you just literally was the last person in the race, or you just literally lost out on just a ton. Don't feel that way, because you can definitely get right back in, definitely just learn from those mistakes and just keep going. Make note what you did wrong, maybe what failed, what didn't go quite right, and just keep going. Okay, just keep going, but don't allow discouragement where you feel so, like you just lost everything and you just failed. Don't allow it to keep you bound. These are issues that you cannot allow yourself to stop doing what you are supposed to be doing. Third is anxiety. And so anxiety, as we all know, it can be a feeling of overwhelming. It can be something that you're feeling really overwhelmed about. It's kind of that worry. You're extremely nervous, sometimes for no reason. And, we know we're not supposed to be anxious for anything. We know we're not supposed to be worrying about anything. And so that's something that we really have to overcome too. We have to release all that worrying, trying to, I'm a big advocate on, making a plan of action and setting milestones and goals and target dates. I'm a real big advocate for that. And I anybody that I work with, no matter what your goal might be, I always tell you, try to make a plan of action, because that can definitely help you to identify, what you need to do, how you're going to stay on track, kind of making those achievements. And really that kind of helps with motivation as well, as you start to achieve each milestone. You'll actually kind of be able to celebrate those milestones. And of course, that for some people is a way of motivation. But even in the midst of that plan of action, I definitely let people know life happens. So in case something does happen where it seems like you end up off track with your plan of action, don't get anxious, don't worry, don't get overwhelmed. It's okay. Just go back to your plan of action, calmly sit down and just reevaluate, reassess, modify some deadlines here and there. And so that is another, item, or another issue, I should say, of getting, making sure you're able to overcome it. And that's, like I said, we know anxiety is, there are some severe cases, as we know, and I am definitely one that will not tell you not to go seek professional help for those very extreme, issues of anxiety. But when it comes to certain things that, number one, we know we can't have no control over it. We can't control everything in our lives. We can control ourselves. We can certain, we have certain things that we can control. We do kind of have a little control, but we don't have 100% control. And that is something that we really have to make sure we realize, and don't allow, the feeling of anxiety to distract us. And then the final and fourth thing is stress. Ugh, stress. As we all know, we all experience it. It can be unhealthy, as we know. Some will say, a good amount of stress, helps some people to stay motivated, which is, a little true. Having a little bit of stress is fine. But being really overly stressed, that, of course, we all know is very unhealthy. For most people, it causes so many health risks in the long run. Younger people, especially younger people, they're having heart attacks and strokes, and, because they're getting so overwhelmed. They're getting so wrapped up into so many different things, and they're getting stressed out. And that is something that we should not allow ourselves to get into. Don't get stressed out. Don't allow things to overwhelm you. Don't overpile your plate. I'm a huge person that will tell you in a heartbeat, do not overpile your plate. Know what your role is, know what your lanes are, and stick to them. And that's something that is a way to overcome. Don't overpile your plate. Stop, pause for a minute, take an evaluation on what's going on, and see what you really are more interested in. There's actually like an exercise that I sometimes go through with certain people that's about, life roles, kind of evaluating what's most important for you. Do you like more being the mother, or being, working at home, or being, the wife, or being, even singing in the choir, or volunteering a lot? I mean, what is your, what are your different hats, if you will? And what are those things that you really want to focus on? What are those things that you're very passionate about, and you really want to give time for those? Once you assess that, then you'll be able to be like, what? This hat isn't for me. This hat isn't for me. Maybe I need to take off this hat. And so that's what you want to keep in mind. So that's how you can kind of overcome that. And then, of course, always think of the health risk, and think of doing things that are healthier, as far as, physically, maybe some exercising can kind of help combat that stress of the day, maybe going for a walk or a run, just kind of clearing your mind, taking that time to just clear your mind today, things like that. So that's another way to actually, overcome stress. And so you just want to definitely think of on all those things that I just mentioned. That's my list. So it was just those four things: fear, discouragement, anxiety, and stress. You can overcome these. And there's a ton of other issues, of course, but I definitely wanted just to touch on those because they're the most common for us, for people. And so I want people to know that you can overcome them, and you can be successful in doing so. And so to kind of close this one, I want to start definitely inviting people to my website, which is www.effectiveliving-llc.com. And definitely join my email list. This month, I actually have a very powerful kind of like promo, if you want to call it that, where if you sign up, you actually will get an exclusive copy of a chapter out of my first book, which is entitled, Can I Trust God Again? And so with that chapter, it also includes some reflective questions and different things like that. And then, of course, along the way, you'll also receive some other very powerful information and tools just to help you, reclaim that victory, and to really know that you can, in fact, have that deeper faith and maintain that faith throughout the process of life. Because as we know, life is tough. That's a given. Life is tough. And so sometimes it's not so much how we start, because we got all that momentum to start, and then we have that momentum to finish because we see the finish line. It's that in-between process. And so that's how we have to give faith life. That's the reason we have to give faith life, because we want to ensure that we have that faith throughout the whole process to finish with power and with with authority, and just with success and passion and just fulfillment. And so that's what we want to do. And so please join my email list. I would love to connect with you that way. I actually have people starting to actually reply back to the emails, because I definitely invite you to email me. That's an open door kind of to actually connect with me, to send me any kind of emails as you wish for any questions or any help. So definitely connect with me that way. Like I said, visit my website to sign up. Until next time, have a blessed rest of the week. Bye.